Stop. Before you scroll past this, what if the diet that went viral this year is the exact reason your energy crashed, your cycle went sideways, or your mood feels completely chemical right now? Because I've been tracking the biggest diet trends of 2026 with a clinical eye for months. And what I found? Some of these protocols are genuinely brilliant for the right person, and some of them are quietly torching the hormonal systems that run everything. Your sleep, your mood, your metabolism, your ability to feel like yourself. Today we decode all of it, not to scare you, to arm you. Because by the time this episode ends, you'll know exactly what these viral diets do to your biology, and more importantly, you'll have a clear, smart framework to get the benefits without paying the hormonal price. Stay with me, this one matters. Welcome back to Wellness Waves. I'm Dr. Elias. If you're new here, I'm glad you found this place. Everything we do on this channel comes back to one truth I need you to carry into everything we discuss today. Health is not a destination, it's a rhythm you learn to ride. We don't just treat symptoms, we decode your biological waves to turn back the clock from the inside out. Decoding, not demonizing, not fear-mongering, decoding. Because when you understand what's happening inside yourselves, when you follow a viral protocol, you stop being a passenger and you become the driver of your own biology. That's the whole point of Wellness Waves. Let's get into it. The viral diet landscape of 2026. Right now, as you watch this, millions of people are following a diet that went viral this year. Carnivore, extreme keto, 72-hour water fasts, raw veganism, seed cycling, each one exploding across social media with real transformation stories, real testimonials, and real before and afters. And here is what I need you to understand from the very start. None of these diets is simply wrong. Every single one touches a genuine biological lever. The problem is they pull that lever without knowing what's connected on the other end. Imagine your hormonal system as a precision orchestra. When these diets work, they turn up one section and the whole piece sounds richer. But when they go wrong, they turn that one section up so loud it drowns everything else out. And what you hear instead of music is crushing fatigue, irregular periods, brain fog, hair falling out, mood that feels chemically driven, because it is chemically driven, weight that refuses to move no matter what you do. Sound familiar? Good, because that's exactly what we're decoding today. Carnivore, the hormone hit and miss. Let's start with carnivore, meat only, sometimes eggs, no plants whatsoever. Here's the genuine hit. Testosterone and steroid hormones are synthesized from cholesterol. High-quality animal fat gives your body generous raw material for that synthesis. Men in their 40s with insulin resistance, some genuinely impressive results. Improved energy, sharper focus, better libido. Real biological truth buried in there. But here's what carnivore does that almost nobody talks about on social media. When you eliminate all carbohydrates, your brain loses its primary fast-access fuel, glucose. Your adrenal glands step in, releasing cortisol to manufacture glucose through a process called gluconeogenesis. For someone with healthy adrenal function and low baseline stress, the body adapts 4 to 12 weeks, and many people feel genuinely remarkable. But for a woman who is already stressed, sleep-deprived, or in a demanding life phase, that additional cortisol demand tips the system. Chronically elevated cortisol suppresses LH and FSH, the pituitary signals that tell your ovaries to produce estrogen and progesterone. The medical term for what follows is hypothalamic amenorrhea. You might know it as, I started carnivore and my period disappeared. I see this every single week. And then there's the thyroid piece. The conversion of T4, the inactive thyroid hormone, to active T3 is partly glucose dependent, happening primarily in the liver. In prolonged zero-carb states, some people experience a drop in active T3 and a rise in reverse T3, which is an inactive blocking form.
The result looks like fatigue that doesn't respond to rest, cold hands, hair thinning, slower metabolism, and it often goes undetected because a standard TSH test shows normal. Carnivore is not the villain, but it is a protocol that requires you to know your biology before you commit. Who does it serve well? Men with insulin resistance, healthy adrenal function, and strong stress resilience. Short-term therapeutic trials with careful monitoring. Who needs to be careful? Premenopausal women in high stress phases, anyone with thyroid vulnerability, anyone already in caloric restriction. Extreme keto, what they don't show you. And I want to be precise here because there is a massive clinical difference between a well-formulated moderate keto diet and the therapeutic protocols originally designed for drug-resistant epilepsy that are now being promoted as longevity hacks. The genuine win, ketogenic eating produces real improvements in insulin sensitivity. For people with type 2 diabetes, prediabetes, or PCOS-related insulin resistance, this can be genuinely life-changing. I've seen patients reduce insulin medication within weeks under clinical supervision. That is not a small thing. But here is where keto creates its own hormonal disruption that comes on quietly. Your hypothalamus, the master hormone regulator in your brain, is also a metabolic sensor. It reads low carbohydrate availability as a potential survival signal. Even if you're eating adequate calories from fat, the hypothalamus in some women cannot distinguish between "I'm in ketosis by choice" and "I'm food scarce." The result is suppression of GnRH, which drops LH and FSH, which means reduced estrogen and progesterone, particularly in the luteal phase, when progesterone should be dominant. I have patients, smart, motivated women who spent 6 months on strict keto, lost weight, felt mentally sharp, and then came to me baffled by worsening anxiety, mood instability, and disrupted cycles. Their hormone panels told the story immediately: suppressed progesterone, cortisol running high, irregular LH pulses. The diet fixed their insulin. It disrupted their reproductive axis. The answer is not avoid keto. The answer is, for premenopausal women, cycle your carbohydrates strategically. Higher activity days and the luteal phase benefit from more carbohydrate. Lower activity periods can tolerate restriction without the same hormonal cost. That approach, carbohydrate periodization, gives you the metabolic benefits without sustained reproductive suppression. Prolonged fasting, the beautiful lie. I support strategically applied fasting. The science on autophagy, cellular self-cleaning, is genuinely compelling. Intermittent fasting for metabolic flexibility and insulin sensitivity has solid evidence. I use fasting protocols in my clinical practice regularly.
But the version that went viral in 2026 is 72-hour water fasts, 96 hours, 7 days, promoted as a biological reset, and done at home without monitoring, without supervision. Here's what people experience. Around hour 48 after the rough transition, many feel remarkable. Mental clarity, emotional calm, almost floaty. That feeling is real. It's driven by elevated ketones fueling the brain, reduced neuroinflammation, a surge in norepinephrine, and genuine autophagy upregulation. But here's what they can't feel simultaneously. By hour 36 to 48, cortisol is significantly elevated, driving gluconeogenesis. By hour 72, the kidneys, with dropping insulin and no dietary carbohydrate, are excreting sodium, potassium, magnesium, and phosphate at an accelerated rate. That sense of euphoria at hour 60 is partly a cortisol surge. And in people with existing HPA vulnerability, that sustained cortisol elevation isn't clarity, it's biological stress dressed up as spiritual insight. The real danger is electrolyte depletion. Cardiac arrhythmias from unsupervised prolonged fasting are rare, but they have occurred, and they are electrolyte-driven.
If you fast beyond 24 hours, sodium, potassium, and magnesium supplementation is not optional. It is a clinical requirement. And the good news? Meaningful autophagy begins at 14 to 16 hours and continues building through 24. The benefits people chase with extreme protocols are genuinely achievable at 24 hours, without the cortisol damage, without the electrolyte risk, without the refeeding complexity. A monthly 24-hour fast with electrolyte support gives you 90% of the benefit at 10% of the biological cost. Seed cycling. Real science, real limits. Seed cycling has become enormous in the women's hormonal health space, and the conversation around it sits somewhere between "this is revolutionary" and "this is completely made up." Neither extreme is right. The biological reality: flaxseed lignans have genuine weak estrogenic and anti-estrogenic activity with real research behind them. Pumpkin seeds are genuinely rich in zinc, a cofactor for LH activity and progesterone synthesis. Sesame seeds contain sesamin, a lignin with anti-estrogenic properties relevant to the luteal phase. Sunflower seeds provide vitamin E and selenium, both of which support progesterone production. The components are real, the mechanisms are plausible. What we lack is controlled clinical trial evidence that the specific rotation and timing produce the claimed hormonal outcomes at the doses used. My position: seed cycling is a safe, nutritionally sound practice that adds genuine micronutrient value regardless of whether the specific hormonal mechanism is as precise as claimed. The attention it encourages you to pay to your cycle is itself enormously health-promoting. Track your phases. Eat intentionally around your cycle. That awareness alone is meaningful. What seed cycling cannot do: dramatically correct severe hormonal imbalances. It is a supportive nutritional practice, not a substitute for clinical evaluation. Use it as one intelligent component of a broader approach, not as your entire hormonal health strategy. The Safe Diet Starter Kit. All right. Here is what I give every patient who comes to me after a dietary experiment left them more depleted than when they started. Step 1. Test before you change. A comprehensive thyroid panel, free T3, free T4, reverse T3, TSH, and antibodies, not just TSH. Sex hormones, estradiol, progesterone, LH, FSH, DHEAS for women. Total and free testosterone, LH, FSH, SHBG for men. 4-point salivary cortisol through the day. Metabolic markers, fasting glucose, fasting insulin, HOMA-IR, and nutrients, ferritin, zinc, selenium, vitamin D3, B12, omega-3 index. You cannot correct what you have not measured. Step 2. Fix the foundations first. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep, non-negotiable, because during sleep, your body resets cortisol rhythm, produces growth hormone, and restores leptin-ghrelin balance. Daily parasympathetic activation, 10 minutes of intentional breathing, a walk without a screen, a wind-down routine. Consistent resistance training 2 to 3 times per week, because muscle tissue is your most powerful long-term investment in insulin sensitivity. Step 3. Choose the least extreme version. Whatever dietary philosophy resonates, start gentler. Moderate keto before extreme keto. 16-hour intermittent fasting before 72-hour fasts. Whole food plant-rich eating before full raw veganism. Give the gentler version 8 weeks. Run a follow-up panel. Let the data tell you whether to go further. Caseinate, omega-3 fatty acids, diverse strain probiotic. Diet-specific additions: B12 for any plant-based approach, electrolytes for ketogenic, carnivore, and fasting protocols, iodine and selenium for prolonged low-carb approaches. Step 5. Track symptoms, not just weight. Energy consistency through the day, sleep quality, mood stability, cognitive clarity, digestion comfort, cycle regularity. These markers are giving you real-time hormonal feedback that your scale simply cannot. Step 6. Retest at 8 to 12 weeks. Compare to baseline. Celebrate what improved. Investigate what didn't. Adjust accordingly. This is science applied to your individual biology, not guessing, not following a trend, knowing. Here is what I want you to carry with you after everything we've covered today. The viral diet trends of 2026 are not your enemies. They are clues, pointing toward biological levers that real science confirms are genuinely important. The problem was never the idea, it was the assumption that one protocol works identically for every human body. That assumption has never been true. And the sooner we stop organizing our health decisions around it, the sooner we make real, lasting progress. Your biology is not a meme. It is not a before and after photo. It is a complex, intelligent, adaptive system trying every moment of every day to find its rhythm. And your job, our job together here, is to learn to listen to it. Because remember, health is not a destination, it's a rhythm you learn to ride. We don't just treat symptoms, we decode your biological waves to turn back the clock from the inside out. That's what we do here, every week together. Now, what viral diet have you tried this year? What happened? Comment below. I read every single one, and your stories shape everything I create here. Subscribe if you haven't, because next week we're going somewhere that might surprise you. What time you eat may matter more than what you eat. Chrononutrition, the science of meal timing and your hormones. Don't miss it. I'm Dr. Elias. This has been Wellness Waves. Take care of yourselves.